97.7 The Q and 98 Gold. We welcome to the program Therapy Thursday with Dr. Nicki Monty. Good morning, Dr. Nicki. How are you?
I am in layers of things, actually, at this point. As
All
you know,
right.
I
In
always tell the truth.
layers of things.
I have
Oh, all right.
layers of feelings, layers of feelings. I have a lot of gratitude.
Okay.
Uh, as this was a very full holiday season, which is always interesting for me because it's easy for me to compare to holiday seasons gone by, which was very much me making it happen. And this was me joining the happening. So
That's
very
new.
different,
Yeah.
very
Very.
different. And it's, and it's been that way now for this is my fifth Christmas with my beloved Tom, and it's fifth holiday season. So each season has been quite different because we do different things, but this was a very full thing. And including a surprise that I had for him, which I want to tell you about. This was supposed to happen on his birthday. His birthday was November 8th. And so we were supposed to, I had this surprise planned. And then we were asked to stay with the family for a particular thing, which turned out to be amazing because happenstantially, we got to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Uh, um, Induction of some
Yeah.
people, and we got to see some very fun people, Elton John and I always forget her name. She's wild
Lauper.
and yeah,
Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper and all that. So
Mhm.
that was very fun. But that put off my surprise, which I was annoyed about because I planned I plan things. And the surprise was that Tom has always wanted to, which, by the way, everybody else in the family was surprised about this because, nobody, it's not a lot of asking, what is on your bucket list? But anyway, he always wanted to go in a hot air balloon. And his longtime wife had a lot of fear about various things, and one thing was that was not going to happen. He was not going to go up in an hot air balloon because he would be dead. Was her sort of perspective on it.
Sure.
And I had been in one years ago. Now I am I'm an emotional warrior. Throw anything at me emotionally, I'm good. I got all the tools I need to move my way through that. Physically, I'm a total wimp. I I am not the person that's going to be bungee jumping or falling out of a plane or doing any of those things. Crazy. Why would I do that? I went on the ride, ride in one of the parks that one goes to, where you fall in uh, like a parachute. You go to the top of the thing and you fall with a parachute it's got walls on it basically.
Right.
So you're not exactly floating around in air. There's nowhere to go except down, and they do that with a parachute. Terrifying to me. No, small children were fine. Yeah, I was screaming. So I knew I was I went up in a small basket with my couple of people, including my teacher, like 20 years ago or something. And it was the whole time I was just gripping the side like that was going to be helpful. So it was not great. So I knew that this was going to be terrifying. And a couple of people who knew about the surprise said, then why are you doing this? And I said, because I love Tom. And when you love someone, you companion them in adventures. When you can, you do what you can. It's a way of being in service to love, as far as I'm concerned. And besides, we never grow from doing the comfortable thing.
Well, I was going to say it's very empowering because I'm afraid of heights.
Yeah.
And so when we go to Wisconsin, we zip line and we have to climb to the top of a mountain and go
Girl.
down 17 zip lines, and every time I'm looking out overneath the rock, over the rocks, I'm
Yeah.
like, ah, every time, and it's 17
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
When I get to the bottom, though,
Yeah.
there's no stopping me.
Yeah. It
Like
really
it's
is empowering. I mean,
Mhm.
I've done a couple dozen sweat lodges, and every time I'm pretty sure I'm going to die.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's a suffering. But,
Yes.
those kinds of things, they lift you up in a
Mhm.
particular way. In the case of a sweat lodge, it kind of brings you to your knees, which isn't
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Surrender is a good thing. So anyway, so I surprised him with this. We drove to Temecula, which is a place in
Beautiful.
California that it's
Mhm.
beautiful. It's
Mhm.
wine country. We don't drink, so there's only two reasons to go to Temecula. You're either going to do the vine thing, or you're going to do a hot air balloon. So when he knew we were going to, and everything got screwed up. The people that were supposed to go with us, his son-in-law and daughter and the baby, they couldn't go because they had other things come up. So it was just the two of us. So he had to drive because we're in his big car. I can't drive his car. So I said, we're going to Temecula. He said, Temecula. And he realized what it was. It was so great. I only had one moment when we were getting into the basket. I said, these are a lot of, I didn't get a private thing. I just did it with everybody else. I said, I think there are too many people getting in the basket. Seems to
All of a
me.
sudden, you're a physicist. Like, that.
And they take your weight, ahead of time.
Yeah.
But when they split us up, and Pete was our pilot.
Mhm.
So there's a hysterical word for what's happening. But anyway, Pete was our pilot. And Pete clearly was very well skilled. I mean, he had been doing this since infancy, it seemed, and he was not a young person. So, I thought, but did they add up the pounds that they took when we signed up ahead of time? How did they figure out? But anyway, that flashed through me, and after that,
Yeah, I would be concerned because I never change when I go to the BMV here, or the DMV, the Driver's License Bureau. I am still the 125 pounds I was when I was 16. So that would be a real problem right now. Like,
Yeah,
like,
who's
listen,
lying?
you bunch of
You look
liars,
around for
right?
that, yeah. But actually, everybody in our little thing was nice and slender. So okay, so it's so funny. And it was so beautiful. And then it turned out, and this is the thing about life that is, if you really pay attention, you can see how often this happens. Most people, I think, don't really notice this, but it turned out that 2 weeks prior, when we were supposed to be doing it, right, because there had been no rain, everything you would look at, the pilot was saying, everything, because there was a little bit of that left, was brown.
Mhm.
But there had been this big rain. And in a week and a half, everything had burst into green and beautiful. So if we had gone at our original timing, it would have been a totally different experience. I'm sure still fine, but not the beautiful experience that it was when
Sure.
we did go. So this is one of those things where life hands you a basket of wonderful fruit, and you look at it and you say, yes, but how long has it been around, and is the saved, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
What's on the bottom? Could those still be good?
Yeah.
Did they put them in the. And then all of a sudden you find every piece of fruit in the basket is gorgeous and delicious. And so I was really glad about that.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on the other hand, I'm coming into a new year, and I was hoping to make a new I'm looking, anybody knows anything about this, I'm looking for a speakers bureau person who knows how to do all that, sort of a speakers bureau agent, because my time with my PR company is over. And I almost hired somebody, and I had her checked out, and she had an F business rating.
Oh boy.
So luckily I have these things checked now. Usually
Yeah.
I would just go, oh, that sounds good. They like me a lot. They think my book is great. I'm good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flattery is my Achilles heel. And so I I was disappointed in the no thing that came out of that, and so I have to get myself together and go get to the next moment. And continue
Yeah.
all of this. It feels a little bit like I'm untethered at this moment in terms of my promotional plan. But a lot's happened in the last, as you could see on my social media, a lot's happened in the last 3 months, and so I'm excited to keep that going.
Well, it's interesting that you started by saying that you've got layers. So you've got the
Yes.
gratitude, you've got the nervous energy, I guess, for lack of a better term, of for what's to come in the new year,
Uh-huh.
what your plan is, and I think from the way Cheryl and I have been talking with each other and other folks, I think that's very prevalent right now.
Absolutely. Tis
I
the season. Yes.
Yes. I mean, we talked with people. So in the last couple of weeks, we've gone to a two different fundraisers, both for local charities that are building things up here at the end of the year. And today, when the day we're recording this is Giving Tuesday, and we're doing things with that. So a lot of, like you said, a lot of gratitude, a lot of feeling good about helping and doing
Mm,
things like that, and then a lot of looking around, going, well, do we have what we need to get by? Do we,
that's right.
what's our plan for the new year? What are we going to do? We're going through transition here at the company where um, it's we've really scaled down to a bare bones staff with plans of the new year, growing into a team again, and what do we
Yeah.
want out of that team, and what do we want to,
Uh-huh.
there isn't a better business bureau for local people to join your team. You have to kind of,
Yeah.
feel
That's
them
right.
out and things, and
That's right.
what do we do? So there's layers of kind of anxiety there as well,
Yes.
with all the different things. So
Absolutely.
And
And it
I
is
have
that time. And what people do in this, I'm sorry, Cheryl.
no, no, no.
What people do in this time is, we're coming up on New Year's Eve, which is this sort of artificial, I don't even know how we landed on that as our whatever it is, as our refresh. But and people do they make resolutions, and I'm not a fan of resolutions, and I think we've talked about this before. I find resolutions to be something that people are using as a temporary fix, like this dry January. Come on, people. Okay.
right.
Let's look at what you've been doing and why you've been doing it and what's the point of all that. And oh yay, I get to so drunk that I can't walk. Okay, been there, done that. Not fun. I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, because we're really having fun. Are you? Are you? Anyway, so the thing is, what I like better is setting intentions. And you don't have to have a whole list of other, I'll never eat bad things again as long as I live, whatever it is. But intentions, my intention, what is your primary intention going into the new year? And maybe you guys have thought about this, but I think it's a good thing to talk about for the next couple of weeks for us, and to
I've given a lot of thought about that.
Mhm.
My problem when I think about it and where I get stuck is looking at yourself and as an individual and what needs you have to have met and what things you want to accomplish on an individual level versus the greater good. And how do you kind of journey through it's not all about you, but it's got to start with you. And
Well, I
and
think
that's
that's
where I go.
exactly what you just said. It starts
Yeah.
with you, and then
Yeah.
it radiates out, but I don't really see much difference between the greater good and the individual good. If we're doing good, if we're being good in the sense of if we're being abundant, if we're being self-nurturing, if we're being considerate to self and our primary people, the people in our immediate circle, that that moves out into the world. I don't
Okay, how
not
about the opposite? So how about if uh I'm trying to think how to word this. So I probably should just say it and not think
Yeah.
about repercussions or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Steve's dream is the radio station, and
Uh-huh.
he bought the radio station. And as he did that, we have moved together as a couple,
Uh-huh.
right? And then as coming together as a couple, um, I have been along for that ride, and now it's become kind of our dream, if you will, which
Mm-hmm.
requires every bit of work, effort every day. It does not have an off switch.
Right. Right.
In the kindest of ways, because there's a lot of positives to it. This was not what I intended. I'm
Mm-hmm.
in sales. I love people, I love clients, I love creative, I love problem solving, like
Mm-hmm.
with them, and then the success that comes from award winning and doing great things for people and having big parties and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm in this position where now I'm on air, and there's a ton of things that I love about what that is. Like waking, waking up early. There are things that have come with it that are now like, whoa, like on the taxing side and need a lot of, I mean, Steve's done it for over 35 years and he's still not used to it schedule wise. Like, so
Yeah.
there isn't really a time where you're like, yay, waking up at 3 a.m. is fantastic because we're going to be on video and all this thing.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of adjustment, and I'm one for gratitude. So I think at the end of the day about, what am I grateful for today and things. And I'm also a prayer warrior. So I do pray both for myself and other people as to how I can have the power to change what I don't like about
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that,
In the world you're talking about, or in
in the
yourself?
world or in our world,
Okay.
like on a small scale and on a big scale.
Okay.
But I love the new year because in the Jewish New Year, there's a whole month where you repent for things gone wrong. You're very mindful. You actually blow a shofar, a horn that
Yeah.
calls you to repent and like, whoa, wake up.
Yeah.
What do you want to change and how do you want to do it? And so I love that about New Year as opposed to getting drunk, blitzed, and partying it up. Like,
Yeah.
I love the fact that I have to contemplate, like, this doesn't have to keep going down the same road. I can kind of rein in and change things both
Yeah.
between me and God and me and my fellow human being. But it
Mm-hmm.
does start with me. So I do like deeply think about things like this.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, I'm tired. I'm also very tired of thinking about everything.
Yeah.
Like I kind of just want to be on a beach in Mexico,
Yeah.
um, and not have everything like about bills and about things and about.
Well, yes, and a couple
So
of
there's
things.
no balance right now. Just
There's no
saying,
balance.
there's no balance.
There's no balance, but there's seldom been balance for you. So let's get real about that.
Yeah.
And so this has always been the crux of your matter is
Mhm.
how can you uh, first of all figure out what balance even looks like for you,
Yeah.
and how can you weave that balance into your life? You can't wait to, there are a lot of people, and it's just always stunning for me, who are going to they're going to put it all their energy, their time, their money, the whatever, planning for retirement, and retirement really sucks for most people because why have they been putting their life up? First of all, none of us know how much time we have. So putting it off till
Mhm.
you're, 80 or whatever doesn't seem like a good plan to me.
Right.
And so now I'm going to go live my life. Well, that's kind of crazy. Live your life now. And, but for you, you put so much burden on your brain to help you with these matters and so little on your heart and your body to help you with these matters that will continue to be very exhausting for you unless you figure out how to live more vivaciously in your body, how to include your heartful system. And you're very heartful, but I don't think you allow your mind and your body to like communicate with each other very well, right?
Right.
And so to feel, not to think your way into that solution, but to feel your way into that solution. This is why breath meditation would be great for you in a consistent way. Breath meditation. And you say, well, I'm thinking too much during meditation, so I can't do it. Well, you do it until that doesn't happen, and there eventually, as one thinker to another, there eventually will come a time when you will be shocked by the silence. And the silence is, as I always say, the breath between the ohms, that
Mhm.
chant, right?
Yeah.
And then in between, you have to take a nice big breath. Okay, so that goes on and on and on until you have to take another breath. And the breath between the ohms is where everything happens. It's not during the noise, although that does change the vibration in a
Mhm.
literal way. But anyway, the silence is where everything happens. It's where all the beauty comes up from within you to tell you where to go next. So, if there was one commitment maybe you and I could make together, it's to take 5 minutes a day between, I'll do it and you do it, between now and, well, let's just say next week, and do that 5 minutes of just breath, just sitting still in breath. And as you're doing that, you begin to ask yourself, what is next for me? What do I want? What can I do? How can I be? How can I bring balance into my life? How can I do that? Is it that I'm going to go off and take a wild dance class and just be completely, let myself be sucked into that completely at that moment? Is it that I'm going to go sit with my honey somewhere and hold his hand and just sit in silence together? No talking, no thinking, listening to the wind or listening to music. I mean, I have no idea what you're going to do to bring balance, but I know that you need that, because otherwise you're going to burn out, get pissed off, and disappear. What did you do before the radio for balance? What did you do when you were selling for balance?
Oof. I don't know.
Right. So the radio, or this reconnecting in this relationship, has given you a fullness of intention. Just that, it takes a life of its own, right? Like
Yeah.
you were saying. And it's giving you a fullness of intention. And now you're noticing what's missing. Maybe before you didn't quite notice what was missing. So you weren't.
Yeah.
So what a great gift. Now
Okay.
you add in, you don't cut and run, right? You add in.
Mm.
What can you add in? So the 4 pillars of wholeness are intellectual, physical, emotional, and spiritual, whatever that means to each person. Intellectual means for me, it means we go and discover something we know nothing about, or we read books we don't agree with, right? If we read books we already agree with, we come away with what we already knew. Or take a course on something that we've never done, whatever it is. Spiritual is up to the individual. What is that? If I'm going through my life on a daily basis with a view to kindness and consideration and being value added to the people around me, that's a kind of a way of spiritually walking through the world, is from my point of view, right? It doesn't have to be in a building where everybody's thinking,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's telling you what's valuable spiritually. Can be, but doesn't need to be. Physically is easy and obvious. You're doing something with your body. Are you discovering how beautiful your body is in its capacities? You're keeping it fit, or you're, having a lot of sex, or whatever it is people are doing to be in their body. And emotionally, you're doing some, I think, exploration. Either it's with a coach like me, or I hate to call myself a coach because I'm more, but a thought healer and a soul healer like me, or if it's finding a online course of some kind that will take you into an emotional realm you hadn't been in before. Or, I mean, there's so many ways now.
Yeah.
With so many ways. And I saw this interesting, this is not exactly on point, but fun, as usual with me. I saw this thing on Instagram. So when I walk, I try to get 10,000 steps a day. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But so when I walk, I've seen every house in the neighborhood 455,000 times. I'm like, haven't done unless they're doing some renovation and nothing interesting is going on out there. So I do, I walk and I look at Instagram's feed and whatever. That's my big time to do that, because it's not that interesting generally. But I saw this little piece on that. So this fellow dies. This is obviously anecdotal. This fellow dies, and he thinks he's going to go to heaven, and he's greeted by someone or someone's, and they say, so how did you like heaven? And he says, no, I'm going to go to heaven. And he says, no, you've been in heaven. You just didn't know it. Look at that. You had this beautiful planet with all its plants and animals and people to be with and discover and love to encounter or pursue, and all these wonderful things. That is heaven. And you've not even noticed. Yeah. So I'm paraphrasing a lot and changing it, but that essentially is the thing. What if this is the thing we actually have been looking for, and it's right in front of us? And here's another anecdote for you. When I lived in Spain, when I was a young woman, I lived in Spain. Oh gosh, I so love to say that now. Not. Anyway, when I was a young woman, I lived in Spain for 6 months on an island called Minorca. It's a smaller island. There's Mallorca, Menorca, Ibiza, and Formentera. This is a small island. And on that island, people, one day somebody said to me, like I said, it's in Spain. So they said to me, have you noticed the wild asparagus? And I said, the wild asparagus? I don't see any wild. I don't know, there's a lot of green stuff growing all over the place. There's also bulls and strange things roaming around the island. And they said, oh, yeah, it's everywhere. And they showed me what the wild asparagus looked like. And the minute they showed me what the wild asparagus looked like, I saw that it was everywhere. It had always been right in my front yard, right, because I'd rented a house out there. Right in my front yard, all over the place was the wild asparagus. But until I knew what it looked like, I couldn't see it. And that to me is what life's beauty is. Until we realize what it looks like, we can't see it. Or we often choose not to see it. Until you know what balance looks like, you're going to have trouble incorporating it into your life.
Right.
It's like meaning, right? People say to me, how do I find my meaning? I say, meaning is what you decide it is. Does this show have meaning? It does to me. I've decided it has meaning, so it does.
Yeah.
If I decide it doesn't, it won't. Right? If you decide that your well-being has true meaning, you will pursue it.
Yeah.
If you don't give it value, you won't.
Yeah. Well, that's a good place for us to wrap up here for another fine week. Visit secondamore.com/books to check out Dr. Nicki's books from the past, or her current book, The Divine Traumedy of Nicki Joy, a true grime story.
Where
And
it
of course,
shows you how I got to all this wisdom.
yep, it's a long
From
path.
dreadful to divine.
It's a
Right.
long path, and you could also follow her on social media, Facebook and Instagram as well, and TikTok. Look for Dr. Nicki. So, Dr. Nicki, thank you again. As always, have yourself a wonderful week.
Thank you for giving me this forum, for having given me this forum every week for this time to to pontificate and
Well,
And I'm going to
we enjoy it
meditate
too.
for
Yeah.
5 minutes a
Yeah.
day.
and I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes a day.
And I'm gonna drink for an hour a day. No. Wait,
Oh,
wait,
good. We
that's-
have
that's-
balance.
That's,
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to even you guys out. That's
Thank
yeah.
you. Wonderful. It's a wonderful thing.